For more insight into all of this, let's turn to William Lee, Chief Economist at the Milken Institute. William, always good to see you. Sorry under these circumstances, it has been something, right? Okay, 104% tariff on Chinese imports going into effect Wednesday. Give me your take on this back and forth, if you really want to call it that, between China and the United States.
I think we would have anticipated some kind of reaction by China to just demonstrate that President Xi wanted to show everyone that he wasn't going to get pushed around by an American president. So I think everyone expected some kind of reply. But I think I was quite disappointed that the reply wasn't, look, we're both big boys. Let's come to the table and talk, and not just talk about tariffs and minor issues like that. And really, they're minor compared to the real big issue, which was started in 2018. Discussions of how to reframe the trade system for the 21st century and get rid of the WTO post-World War II system that was set up. That was really set up by the United States to try to help recovery by the rest of the world. Right now, we've got very strong economies in China, in Europe, in Latin America, and also in most important, ASEAN and Asia. Yeah. We have to find a new trade system that's ready and willing and able to satisfy the needs of the 21st century. And that discussion has to take place. Right. And China knows that it's going to be an integral part of that discussion. And the tariffs are really a sideshow.
Sure. William, I want to dig into that in just a second. But before we get off the subject about China's economy, let's talk about the escalation, how that is going to affect the economy, supply chains. I just got back from more than a month over there, and one thing I heard was China was trying to tariff-proof its economy. Is that possible?
No, it's not. The world is interconnected. Our supply chains are global. And COVID has taught us that we cannot depend upon single supply chains, which means we need multiple supply chains, including China. And China has learned that its industrial shift toward the high value-added sectors that President Xi wanted, and so insightfully started in the Made in China 2025 program he started 10 years ago. A lot of industry is shifting to the rest of Asia. And China has to really prepare itself to educate its people to fit into the high-tech, high-value-added industries in China. So there's a lot of restructuring to be done, both in China and the United States, to reshape itself to be ready for trade in the 21st century.
Okay, let's talk about these two countries, the way they're dealing with this, because China's response has been strong, making it clear Beijing is not going to back down. I'm curious which country you think is in the better position, and right now, is it kind of a case of neither Trump with his outlook on life, the way he's always been, and President Xi and the whole Chinese philosophy of losing face? How much does that come into play?
That is 99% of the belligerent talk that we hear now. And I expected some of that. What I'm hoping for is that over time, and very short amount of time, say a couple of days and weeks, behind the scenes, there will be a lot of staffers calling each other and saying, we need to start the talk process now. And they may start doing it behind the scenes. And once they come to some sense of what the big topics are to handle first, I think that's when they start to go public. But right now, I think in order to save face, and it's not just China, but every leader around the world has got to demonstrate to their people that they want to maintain national sovereignty and they won't let the U.S. push them around. That really has been the driving force for a lot of political leaders. Now, on the other hand, you have Israel and others who have come to the United States to say, hey, let's talk. So it's not the only way to behave, but for the big powers, especially for China and U.S., that seems to be the way that they're taking.
I'm curious. I have a great deal of respect for your economic opinions that you bring to our program all the time. Do you think that Trump's plan is working, can work?
Actually, I think there's a big misunderstanding for the plan. And Sean, let me use a medical metaphor that I think President Trump started to use and didn't quite complete. If you were diagnosed with cardiac atrial fibrillation, which is a heart flutter, the first thing the doctor's going to prescribe to you is the blood thinner called Coumadin. Do you know what Coumadin is? Rat poison. And so you can think of tariffs as being the rat poison in the policy package to make you better. But the doctor just doesn't give you Coumadin. He gives you a whole bunch of different therapies and medicines and changing lifestyles that will be designed to collectively make you better off. President Trump's MAGA agenda is the tariffs are really a sideshow. The key part of the agenda to make the U.S. better off and the globe better off is to say reduce the size of government, reduce taxes, reduce regulation, and incentivize foreign investors to come invest in the United States. That's the key. He is trying to link up global investors into the United States and into the rest of the world so that we can actually reallocate resources in a way that makes sense. And that MAGA agenda has to be put together and passed collectively. The tariffs are just taking way too much airtime.
Okay, quickly, one word. Will it work, yes or no?
Yes, it will work if we can give it the time to pass all the other elements of the MAGA agenda. If political capital is worn out and Congress turns to midterm elections, that's going to be a shame because then the MAGA agenda will not work.